Hey, what's up guys? Giant Graveyard is #1 in the world again, and that's nothing new. But it's in a unique position to be a lot better in the meta than it ever was. If you look at the strongest decks in the game, it's Royal Recruit's Bait and Boss Bandit Bridge Band with Miner or Goblin Drill and a ton of bait cards. So if you're using Bowler and Bomber to shred all of the Royal Recruits or knock them back, Giant Graveyard goes Exodia mode on Royal Recruits and bait cards, bouncing them to the Shadow Realm with Bowler and obliterating them with Bomber splash damage. And when you're matching into the flimsy Goblin Drill and Miner Cycle decks that rely heavily on Spear Goblins and Bats to clean up your graveyard skeletons. Cause this deck has Bomber, Snowball, and Arrows, opponents that rely on Spear Goblins and Bats, like most of the Goblin Drill and Miner Fast Cycle decks with Boss Bandit do, will supremely struggle when the influx of Bats and Skeletons start swarming in, and their only answers are instantly evaporated. It's time to skeleton dance on our opponent's graves and assert dominance. And a giant amount of love to everyone that's using credit code SirTag to make the higher-fit videos possible. This deck stays #1 in the world because the toxicity is always off the charts. Usually the way that you want to play is if your opponent isn't making the first play, you'll cycle a snowball on their tower, try to encourage them to spam into you, and then when they relinquish a lot of elixir, like this guy, he went and cycled a miner directly into a bowler, that's going to be a +2 trade for him, but overall he's going to spend way more elixir on the bowler. We can defend way more cost effectively with our Cannoneer and not spend as much elixir. So him cycling his Berserker and using his poison and using the Executioner gives me a profound opportunity to go and make this play with a Graveyard Giant and likely just win the match. Any bait card is going to get squashed by our arrows or maybe our snowball. Heck, I don't really have to do anything here. I think the game's just already over. Eat a little bit of damage here and there. You make sure you don't lose your tower fully. You get your elixir advantage, and then with the advantage you have, you take their entire tower because they can't keep up with you. Pretty simple, despite this guy having poison and having a pretty good deck to beat us. It doesn't necessarily matter because we found an awesome opportunity to pummel him. So, assuming I'm able to defend with a bowler, we're hands off the steering wheel out here. Into a bowler, Executioner Evolution just can't do anything. It's just so sad. So yeah, 100% won this match without even trying. And it looks like our guy agrees. In the gravest situation possible, he didn't even perish to the graveyard on the 3 crown. He just let it happen and left the match. As we were able to snatch up his pride and joy collecting all of his crowns. And also a 2-star drop. Will we get lucky? Probably not. Wait, 4-star? Okay, wait. I hate this because I have max everything. I want to get something for my lucky drops. I would get so excited on my mini account, but on my max account, look at this, 5 million gold, 84,000 gems, max star points, and still Clash Royale is giving me no way to spend that stuff. As we're collecting more medals too, up to 5,500 in the world, starting the day strong. All right, we are playing against another 20-win player, and this guy has got some multiple finishes with Retro Royale and 2v2 too, so you know he's a little bit of a serious sir. Anyway, we always want to make sure that our opponent makes the first play. And if they don't, we cycle snowballs until they do. This guy did. He went in for a cannon and a miner, so he spent 6 elixir. I've only spent a solid 4. Now we're going to soar ahead with a Giant Graveyard. The way that this deck is so prevalent in the meta is because everyone right now that is running Boss Bandit cycle decks typically has Spear Goblins or Bats. Unfortunately, this guy has guards, so he's able to defend way more cost effectively without me like being able to snowball or arrows his stuff away. Guards are the one card that can't die to arrows and snowball right now. Unless I join them together and do a fusion ha, which I don't really want to do because they'd be laughing at me with a lot of hee-hee-haws. Because I would be spending 5 elixir on 3. So I always want to be cost effective out here. I could cycle a bomber at the bridge. It's going to be 2 elixir. It'll force elixir as well from our guy. I'm going to miner counter with a Night Witch. Just pretty cost effective. Forcing out a cannon is very nice. And the Night Witch is going to force out extra elixir. Well, it would have if he didn't cycle a cannon. So we could maybe go in for a bowler in the back because it blocks the right side. And if I go for a giant, I don't like cycling in the back here. It's just really annoying to do. Because if I do, then our opponent will be able to spend more than he has been doing before. Like the bowler might help out. Yeah, giant wouldn't do that. And the bowler staying on our side of the arena also enables us an opportunity to build up more elixir so then we can, you know, drop the giant down if we want. We're not really committed to the aggression here. The bowler could go by itself, and we could just let that go. But if we drop a giant, we are committed to the aggression. So if we don't have elixir for this push, and we slow roll the giant in the back, we just lose the game. So as you can see, the bowler in the back is just a safer move until you actually guaranteed know that you are going to be able to take the tower with the giant. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. A lot of the decks in the game used to be super, super Omega ultra low skill, and you didn't have to think at all. Like Giant Graveyard, everyone's like, oh, just drop the Giant at the bridge and then Graveyard and win the game. It's not like that. You want to think to find the right spots, force mistakes out of your opponent, and then have the higher probability of going all in with the silly tactic. This decision making and flow chart for how you play Giant Graveyard is incredibly easy. It is one of the dumbest decks in the game, but there is some thought behind your plays to maximize your chances of success. As you guys saw in this game and the last one, these are two really good players that left the match, and we snatched 2-3 crowns in a row without trying at all. Despite it being easy, there was still some method behind the madness though. The climb is real as we come up to 4,800 in the world. All right, this guy has got a lot of 20 wins in the banner, and I'm not gonna lie, I've cut out so many wins because people have been losing in 2 seconds in the deck. I just want some spice of life. So this match, if you guys are seeing it, he will not die in 2 seconds, okay? Unless it's really funny, and then I gotta put it in anyway. So it seems like this guy's a way more patient player. If you looked at the banner, tons of 20 wins. So to get all those 20 wins and get consistent enough to win that amount of games, you can't ever make bad plays. Like you need to win all 20 matches with, you know, having 2 losses maximum. Really hard to do. So I know from experience my pain and suffering at all points that I try to do that, at least now in the meta where a lot of chaotic stuff. There's so many cards, lots of evolutions, lots of gimmicky ways of losing games. So you just need to be safe, and this guy seems like it. I'm going to go for Night Witch in the back into the bowler. It's kind of bad for us if we don't win the bridge battle. I'm going to snowball as well, and I also want a Giant. It's really risky, but I do think we win against his bowler, so I felt like it was worth it. And we get, like, nothing, so looks like I kind of overcommitted. Not the worst, but not the best for him. He's going to, like, get a bit of damage with the ability for sure, but he loses the Mega Minion in 1 tap. Does he even want to pop the ability? I would if I were you. Yeah, of course he does. It's going to be like 300 damage, so makes sense. He's also identified that we're likely running Graveyard. I think he knows that. Dropping his cannon, though. That's really good. Goblinstein with Bowler. It could be a Graveyard deck on our opponent's end, too. Honestly, if I was a betting man, which I'm not, I'm really risk-averse, I'd say Graveyard on our opponent's end. I do want to go Bowler on Bowler action, and then maybe not go in the same side here. If we go same lane, it's likely not going to be the best outcome for me. Didn't really work that well for us in the last one. Oh, what is this? I mean, this can't be good for you. If I go Giant Graveyard and then I go in for an Evolved Bomber into that, there's no way that that's going to be a happy moment for you while it splashes onto your tower. We're going to force a log, but you don't even kill. Bro, this is unbelievable. He lost all that stuff. He now doesn't get concentrated damage in the lane that he wants. And also, he still has to deal with the Night Witch, so I'm really liking this. Yeah, also, we've identified that he might have Lightning with this deck. I don't think it's going to be Giant Graveyard with Goblin Giant. It just wouldn't make that much sense. We're going to do dual lane pressure because if I go into that, I likely lose the match, and I want to extract all of his elixirs so then he can't, like, bend a Lightning on top of our Night Witch and kill us. If he did, I think I lost the game. So, if the Night Witch is gone, my chances of winning the game would be gone too. Please let me kill the bowler. The one skeleton on the side that could. What the heck? That thing swindled my guy. And it dwindled his tower down to 800 HP. All right, we're just going to run it back. We're going to send it again. The glorious thing about Giant Graveyard is you either break through with a Giant or you break through with the Graveyard Skeletons that spawn on the tower. You can slowly whittle them away with snowball chip damage as well, arrows as well. And like, it's basically essentially 1,000 damage every time you do it. It's really hard for decks that don't have Goblin Gang or Poison or Dark Goblin to defend. But if they've got Poison, they either have to hit the Night Witch or the Graveyard. If they've got Goblin Gang or Dark Goblin, they're going to lose it to arrows. So there's really no workaround against this deck unless you have ample answers in your deck with a deck designed to destroy Giant Graveyard, which isn't going to happen in this meta when everyone is looking at Boss Bandit saying, hey, get that card out of the game. I'm going to build a deck to beat that instead. If you look at Homie's deck with Evolved Cannon, Bowler, Goblinstein, and Tornado, he's built to beat all the Royal Recruits decks and Boss Bandit without too much trouble, but you can't cover everything in the meta. Giant Graveyard slips through and takes wins. This guy's got the first Boss Bandit that I've seen in the banner. Maybe he'll actually be playing the card. The thing is, it is expensive, so not everyone has it maxed out at the highest level. But if you're playing this deck in challenges, you'll have a really good time against Boss Bandits because you'll just use your guards, you'll get positive elixir trades, and you'll laugh at them. I think this guy's running Royal Recruits, which is also a decent matchup for us as well. The only downside is I don't have much for the fly machine. So for the most part, you're going to have to use the Night Witch to clean that up. Okay. So I think I want to go in for a snowball here. Just knock back the piggies. And then arrows as well. And just like let this happen. I'm not going to get much out of it. He's also not going to get a huge amount either. If I go in for anything to counter the fly machine, then I'm limiting my offensive potential. And he's already done an equivalent amount of damage on the left side. So it's just like not worth it to overcommit there. Also, the evolved Goblin Cage, cycling that is silly, my guy. We need that for the Giant. We're just waiting for him to make one giant mistake, and then we punish. That's how the deck works. You see one card that they need out of cycle, and there's a lot of cards that they might need, and you can really go in for the win. So we're going to slow roll our bowler, and it clogs up the side, so he can't do anything in that lane. He'll probably try to use a fly machine here. He might go in for the fly machine and then some other stuff that's going to be obnoxious, but the main thing that I was worried about was him using fireball and arrows, and that's exactly what he just did. And then the Goblin Cage Evo. Those are the things that you don't want to see. So he has fireball arrows, which most of these people do not have. And then the worst thing about it is the Goblin Cage was out of cycle. We had an opportunity, but then he was able to kill the Night Witch, so we weren't able to accumulate too many bats to clean up the fly machine. So I would say out of all the matchups that we could possibly get for recruits, this would be the worst one. Even like, I don't know, Mother Witch wouldn't be as scary because we could snowball arrows and we could just like clean up the Mother Witch pigs with the bowler. Like, not really scared of Mother Witch, but Evolved Goblin Cage with fireball arrows to kill my Night Witch, it spooks me. My Night Witch bats don't even accumulate then. They're just gone with the arrows. All right, so we're going to use bowler here. Maybe we can force the arrows with the bomber. Yeah, that'd be good. That's really good. That's quite good for us. We take those. Then we can go Giant. Then we can throw down our graveyard. Still have the bat tank for a little bit at least. Maybe there's a shot. If we arrows, and then we get like a evolved bomber down here, and then Evo snowball everything together, is there any chance the bowler just locks tower? The bomber hits the tower a little bit too, a little bit more love. Not as much as we needed. We need a little bit more than that. That sucks. We're going to bowler preemptively because he has to spend elixir that side. He can't go left. It's just like too much of an uphill battle for him. And if he doesn't, we just go Giant Graveyard and then snowball on top of the Royal Recruits. Oh, damn. This guy is quite good at the game. If you notice what he just did, he blocked my Giant from crossing the bridge. But hear me out for a second. What if the Giant was the threat and we wanted that at high HP? Please. Oh, come on, Clash. That's rough. All right. I think we still have to bowler on the right side. Yeah, because anything else is going to get arrowed. Everything else gets arrowed and we lose. At least the bowler is able to defend. I think the bowler does defend. Great. Perfect gameplay on our end. I'm proud of that. Because if I used bomber on the right side and then tried to like overspend, I would have lost 100%. We get to do the exact same thing. Do the exact same thing that we did. And we should be good. Throw in a bomber here on the left. Use our bowler here. Probably go really high guards. And then go in for a graveyard when we can at like negative elixir. Because it's really ineffective for him to defend this cost efficiently. Don't think it's even possible. Try to use our Evo bomber. Use his arrows. All right, we need to stop this. Any shot that I kill that? Okay, thank God. Can the Evo bomber hit the tower? Oh, if that hit the tower, I would have won. Damn. That was the closest loss ever. If the Evo bomber just struck the zappies before the fireball landed, I would have burst out laughing because Giant Graveyard winning that matchup feels a little bit unrealistic and silly when he's going to have Fly Machine and I have no way of killing it. And then the Evo Goblin Cage paired with Zappies to slow and stun my Giant. I mean, the fact that we had a good fighting shot in that game is kind of crazy and really good player too. Obviously, if he was a little bit worse at the game, we would have won. And Giant Graveyard being one of the most offensive decks in the game doesn't always have the best defense when your opponent has spells to remove your stuff. And in this case, we didn't have a single answer to Fly Machine, so that was the main problem. It's time to fly on to the next match and manifest the Clash Royale machine to give us a better matchup. All right, so after a loss, my first instinct is to get my medals back as quickly as I can, which is not the right thing to do. You should wait for the opportunity to pounce on the opponent, get your medals, and feel good about your connection onto the tower. If I randomly spam my stuff and I go for a Giant, and I go Graveyard, and my opponent's got Dark Goblin, I just lose the match because I can't afford Giant Graveyard and arrows at the start. I might not even have arrows in my deck at that specific hand, and then I literally have no way of countering it. Anyway, I counter the Royal Hogs. I have the potential for a redemption arc here. It's 5 for 5. He's going to eat the bomber for sure. Oh, he doesn't really eat it. He goes in cannon a little bit earlier, but he's going to be down a bit because his Royal Hogs got tower damage, but they didn't damage my bowler, so he has to deal with a full health bowler on the counter push. I really enjoy using to the maximum potential. Also, I'm going to go guards off to the side because he used logs, so it's going to be even harder for him to challenge this. I think he might get another delivery down. Unfortunately, he does, but the bowler ball soaks up all of that damage and kind of puts us back in a decent spot. I didn't cycle bomber at the bridge because I knew there was a chance of him going delivery. Worst case scenario, it's a 3-for-3 trade, and I'm okay with that. If I cycle the bomber in the back, it's going to get me closer to the evolution. It takes away the potential of him going to the right side. He probably goes left side with, you know, Royal Hogs if he wants to. If he goes left side, he could go Night Witch and then Giant and then all in there, away from the Archer Queen. I hate how good Archer Queen is right now. I'm just going to straight up say it. Archer Queen, champion ability, stays alive for freaking forever. And it's really annoying if you're running Bowler or Cannon Card or something that's 5 Elixir as well, because you're just hoping for a better trade. So I'm going to go Giant here. I'm going to go Graveyard, and we'll let the Archer Queen get one shot by our tower. Downside about this is we've taken a lot of damage on the left side, but we like going the same side as our opponent so we can build a counter push, and we can safely cycle the Bowler, and we protect the left lane for the rest of the time. Also, I'm going to go guards here on the right side so we can do dual lane pressure, and then I can go in for the Evolved Bomber, lock that onto the Royal Delivery, hopefully get a couple big bounces. That's what we're looking for. You might not think that Bomber Evolution is very good, and I would agree with that. I don't think that Bomber Evolution is like an S tier card. But in this deck specifically, when you need that bit of damage to get back in the game, without the Bomber Evolution, I think we would have been cooked. I'm going to try to do dual lane pressure yet again. I expected him to do that. I think it's always the right play. Oh, I missed the snowball! Fat fingers from Giant Graveyard players, guys! You know, maybe he's just going to be laughing. That's the play. Make them laugh. Make them laugh, and then they'll fall. We're going to be standing tall, dude. We're having a ball. We're throwing a skeleton party out here. It might look silly. You guys might be incredulous at how silly and stupid I am playing. But hear me out for a second. The snowball that no one saw was a no ball. No one saw it. It doesn't really exist. I'm going to Giant here. I'm going to Graveyard again. And going into the Evolved Ice Spirit, I hope it's wasted on a skeleton. If it's wasted on a skeleton or a bat, that would have been huge. Unfortunately, it does connect. Great gameplay on our opponent's end. Stellar stuff on his end. Every time we want to go for the bowler on the side that he's likely to go Archer Queen on, so we limit the counter push there. And this time we won't miss the snowball, guys. Trust me, we won't miss the snowball. My life depends on it here, so we're going to hit it. Trust is a must. Okay. I think we're going to be okay here as well. He's trying to cycle in the other lane, which is obviously where we want him to. We're going to throw down another Graveyard. This is decent because we can Bomber here, hopefully spring into action, and kill the cannon a bit quicker and line everything up. The only downside is I have to use the Giant Snowball on defense. Oh, the Bomber hit the tower! We are so back, baby. We are so indisputably back. That Bomber was brilliant. You know, that put us back in the game. Straight up, that then and there really got me back in the game. I'm going to Night Witch early. I'm going to expect him to potentially go in. He's trying to, like, fumble his way around. It's not happening. I'm going to go Giant here. If he goes Royal Hogs into another Snowball and a Night Witch, I think we're still chilling. We knock both of them back. We're getting our redemption arc. All right, let's Graveyard on the right. Night Witch again in the back so we can start accumulating more bats and cycling back to the cards that we want. Bomber as soon as we possibly can. Snowball again to deny all the damage because it's better to be used on defense than on offense. I think we got to start throwing more Graveyards and just like arrowsing randomly. Like, it seems silly, but probably the right play because it kills skeletons. It's so worth. And then if he has any skeletons left over, we can Evo Bomber in his face. Any skeletons whatsoever. Any skeletons whatsoever. All right, we're going to Bowler here. This is also really silly. The Graveyard. We have the Evo Bomber and the Evo Snowball. So let's try to do the most that we can. Arrows here. Evo Bomber. If we hit anything at all. If we hit the Ice Spirit, he loses. Yo, let's freaking go. Give a round of applause for that Evo Bomber that popped off. Even though our Snowball hit nothing, our Evo Bomber hit everything. In a weird way, we might have charged up our Evo Bomber with our miss from earlier so we could have way more shots to take. Essentially stealing our Snowball shot to power up and become the MVP of the match. Bomber bounce on the like button, subscribe for more daily content, and have an amazing rest of your day.